Every hero of every story has a sensei. For every Goku and Krillin, there's a Master Roshi. For every Naked Snake, there is a boss. For every Luffy, there's a Rayleigh. When I first did my first ever Soul Level 1 run, it was on Dark Souls 3, and my sensei was Sensei Yamfa. As of recording this, Sensei Yamfa is still taking students in his dojo, and I'd definitely go watch his video or any other YouTuber's guide on how to beat the game at level 1. I've seen a lot of them out there, they're amazing, please go check them out. But today, I will be your sensei. And before we start, I just want to make note that this is not a how to beat the game type guide. This is mainly designed to help new players who want to give it a try, but find the idea of beating the whole game kind of daunting. And I want to give them that experience of that it's not as scary as it might seem to beat your first boss at level 1. And so here's the guide. Making this video, I did 3 different runs with 3 different weapons. And these are the weapons that are on screen now, which are the Uchi Katana, the Scavenger's Curved Sword, and the Flameberg. And what they all have in common is that they all start with the passive bleed skill. And you can also apply Ash of War to it, which will be important because that means we can add 2 passives, and the second one is going to be Frost. I decided to do 3 runs just so that there's variety and you can choose between which of the 3 you want to use depending on how comfortable you are. So right away, you're going to want to go to the Gatefront Ruins and pick up Torrent. You'll also want to get the area map and the whetstone knife that's here, because the whetstone knife is going to give you the ability to apply Ashes of War to your weapon. From here, the Uchi Katana players are going to follow this path here. Once you get past the enemy camp, you'll want to hug the wall here until you see the door to the Death Touch Catacombs. You'll follow this path until you find the katana. After that, you're going to teleport back to the ruins, and this is where all the players will follow the same path to get to the teleporter to take you to Dragon's Barrow. Before you go into the teleporter, you're going to want to make sure to grab the sacred tier that's here. From here, you'll go around the temple, and hidden behind some bushes, there will be a teleporter. Once you reach Dragon's Barrow, you're going to want to go down to Fort Feroth. Here, we're going to be picking up 2 items, one of them being Dectus' right medallion, and the other one being Radagon's sword seal. While we're here, if you want to use the Flameberg, then you're going to want to go down to Redmane Castle that holds Radagon's festival and collect the Flameberg. It's important that you do this now because later we're going to need to go to Altus Plateau, and once we've gotten there, it's going to actually activate Radagon's festival and you're not going to have access to pick up the Flameberg. After you get that, you're going to want to go back to the Grace where the teleporter was in Limgrave. From there, you're going to want to head down to Fort Hade, where we're going to pick up the Dectus' left medallion. And if possible, kill this knight for the Bloody Slash weapon art, just in case you never know when you're going to need it. From here, you're going to want to teleport back to the Gatefront Ruins and follow the path that goes around Stormvale into Lemuria of the Lakes. From here, you're going to want to run along the left side of the map until you reach the outskirts of Kara Manor. From here, you'll run past the manor, avoiding the magic attacks, and along the way, you're going to want to kill this invisible beetle here for Frost Step. Next to there, you'll jump across this rock nearby and make a right to the Bellum Church. You'll want to grab the sacred tier that's there, and this is the best time to sit at the Grace and use your tier and golden seeds if you haven't done that already. From the church, you'll head north and you'll reach the Lift of Dectus. You'll activate it using your 2 medallion pieces where you'll reach Altus Plateau. From here, you'll head north and you'll reach the massive stairs that'll go into the capital outskirts. Make sure while you're here to grab the 4 golden seeds. From the capital outskirts Grace, you'll head north and drop down into the moat that's nearby. You'll make a right until you find a tunnel, and it should be called the Sealed Tunnel, where you're going to pick up the Smithing Bell Bearing level 2. Here's where we'll grab the last weapon of the run, which is the Scavenger's Curved Sword. You'll want to head toward the direction to Mount Glimmer by heading back down the stairs and following the path on your right. While heading up near the second ladder on Mount Glimmer, on the ground you'll find the Curved Sword. Now we are ready to fight what I'll consider your appetizer boss before the real first boss. You'll skip past the whole dungeon until you reach the boss, who is the Crystallian. Right away, the only attacks you should be using are either heavies or jumping attacks. Don't use any light attacks because what's going to happen is it's going to stun you and the boss is just going to attack you with something, and that'll be bad news. After you break the boss's stance, everything you do to it right after will stun it. So you just keep hitting it until you finally kill it and get the smithing bell bearing level 1. You'll want to teleport back to Fort Feroth and kill the dragon that's next to the fort. Before you attack it, make sure that you apply Frost Step to your weapon of choice so that you can deal both Frost and Bleed to the dragon. I also forgot to mention this before the Crystalian boss, and I kind of saw this right now, but I decided to pair the Scavenger's Curved Sword with the Scimitar. I decided to put Blood Slash on it so that you can deal double the blood status effect on enemies. After you kill the dragon, you're going to want to take the runes back to the round table, and you're going to want to give the merchant the 2 bell bearings and buy 12 smithing stones level 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the weapon that you decide to use. If you decide to use the Scavenger's Sword with the Scimitar, you're going to want to buy 24 of each of those stones. I also decided to use some of the extra runes for new armor. Up until this point, you've been following my every step in this guide and even had a little practice with your first easy boss at level 1. But now it's time for the real test. Margit has a slow opening phase and will mainly attack with his staff. Sometimes he'll use his holy daggers, so you'll want to watch out for that. But mainly what you'll want to be careful of is his overhand slash that has a delay to it. Just sidestep until he delivers the attack and then punish him right afterwards. You can attack him during and then roll out of his swing, but I prefer doing it after the attack. During the start of his second phase, he'll use his magic hammer, jump up in the air, and slam down on you. When that comes down, you'll want to roll into the attack and then punish him. So for the majority of the fight, you'll want to stay out of his range and punish him when he attacks. Be careful here because sometimes he'll use a really wild combo with his holy blade and his staff, and it's kind of hard to dodge. So what you'll want to do is try your best to roll out of it if you can. Don't feel discouraged if you die to him. I died twice using the flame bird before I killed him. Just stay persistent and you'll get him. With Margit defeated, you have now completed your journey. With a newborn confidence, you can now go into this world with your head held up high, knowing that you defeated these enemies. You can now even continue your journey and fight Godric, or maybe Renala, or maybe even Radahn. Or maybe you can create your own build and beat these enemies.
Mighty dragon, lend me thy strength, O kindred. Deliver me unto greater heights.
The strength of a mighty dragon. Magnificent, but deadly. You must not forget, though, those who partake in dragon communion will one day shed their humanity, their hunger for dragon, their yearning only worsens until the floodgates burst, unleashing eternal torment.
If any of you decide to fight Margit or any other boss in the game at level 1, I'd love to see it. If you want, you can at me on Twitter with some screenshots, show me the cool builds that you make, or even if you decide to use one of these ones, I'd love to see it. Otherwise, if you have any challenges you want to see, please feel free to put them in the comments. I'd love to see them.